Hello and welcome to the Mitchell Millennial Podcast. It is your host, Mitchell. We've got a few things to talk about today, including the launch of the Xiaomi Mi 9T, not the Mi 9T Pro, why I think this means that we do have a Pocophone F2 coming. Next thing I wanted to talk about, real brief, was the lineup of the QCY headphones. It's something that I've had a lot of questions with in regards to like, what's this model, what's that model, and I just want to kind of clarify that for you guys a little bit. As always, before we begin, I can't keep this stuff going without the support of you guys using my affiliate links. It really goes a long way to allowing me to buy tech to review for you. Also, a lot of love and thanks and appreciation goes out to my Telegram community. If you're not part of the Telegram community, it's a really great community of people from all over the world. We talk about tech, Xiaomi products, people answer questions, and it's really a place where I get to connect with people. Last but not least, I had a lot of requests for written content for the non-native English-speaking audience. So now I'm going to be working with a couple of writers and putting new content. Some of it's going to be more feature length, in-depth content up on my website. Some of it's going to be simple written summaries of review videos I do, but the website is going over a whole content like change and shift. So if you haven't checked out the blog, it's where I just try to kind of summarize stuff in a brief, easy to understand way. We'll have links to all that stuff in the description down below. To start, I wanted to briefly go into talking about the lineup of QCY's headphones. And it's something that to me has been confusing. I get a lot of questions about this from other people, and I just kind of wanted to dive into it. So as many of you know, QCY is a ODM, or an original device manufacturer, and they manufacture what I'm assuming is a fair amount of headphones for Xiaomi. Xiaomi designs them, or Xiaomi tweaks the designs that QCY has already. QCY manufactures them. Right now, the QCY T1C is my favorite pair of headphones at like under 20, 25 bucks, whereas the T1 Pro is probably like my favorite, I guess, entry level, right? Pair of truly wireless headphones, especially now that you can get them with Bluetooth 5.0. And there's a lot of confusion. What's the difference between the T1C and the QS1 and all these different names? So we're just going to backtrack. So the cheapest, most entry-level product that QCY has is their T1C. In some markets, I believe it's called the QS1. They go by different names in Vietnam as they do in China, and I get most of my information from the Chinese website, and I just translate it. So we have the T1C and the QS1, which appear to be the same model. They both have the same size driver, same controls, same layout. Then we have the T2 or the T2C. And this is essentially the T1C with a larger battery case with a lid. The battery case has approximately double the capacity, and it has a lid. Other than that, the drivers are the same size. The headphones they appear to be identical. Other YouTube reviewers have reviewed both of them and said that they are the same. In fact, you can charge the T1C and the T2C case and vice versa. So for all intents and purposes, the QS2 and the T2 are the same. Recently, they introduced the T3. The T3 is like an AirPod style headphone with, I don't have my AirPods close, with a stem that comes out, and those have the 7mm driver that we have in the T1 Pro. Now the QCY T1 Pro are their like $40 truly wireless headphones. In some countries, they go by the QCY T Vogue, and I really like the Bluetooth 4.2 version that I have. It supports AAC audio codec, between 3 to 4 hours of playback, depending upon volume. If you're using it mono mode, you'll probably see anywhere between 3 to 4 hours of playback. It has excellent like ear fin design, so that even when you get sweaty, there's enough points of contact for the headphones that they stay in your ear, and they have touch controls. The touch controls do a pretty good job of rejecting like the false touches and stuff like that. And on top of that, when you go to manipulate them or change songs, they don't shift around in your ear. So there is enough upgrades, at least in my opinion, for the T1 Pro to justify the price over the T1C. They have a bigger driver. They sound slightly better. I wouldn't say that it is a drastic difference, but they do sound better. They have a touch control instead of the physical button, which the way they've implemented it, in my opinion, I think is superior. Some people may have differing opinions. And they have a metal case that slides open. So really unlikely to damage or break the case in most circumstances. I have dropped the metal case and it's fine. They do all currently use micro USB to charge, which is kind of a bummer because USB-C the world. But the T1 Pro does have a battery indicator on the case, and it does a great job of showing you how much battery is left on the case. Water break. And overall, I would say that the T1 Pro, in regards to durability and design and kind of user experience, has enough that separates it from the T1C to justify the extra $20 or so. Now, all of these headphones, you can buy them in the description down below. I'll have links to like the QCY official store on AliExpress. And I've been really happy with them. I've had minimal reports from people in regards to comments or on my Telegram community telling me that they've had issues with them breaking, whereas with a product like the Redmi AirDots, I've had lots of reports, and I will be doing a follow-up video in the next week or so about people reporting that their AirDots or their Redmi AirDots have broken, because I want to cover that kind of stuff. It's a cheap product that a lot of people are buying, and it's a product that is breaking for a lot of people. So now that we've cleared up kind of the lineup of QCY headphones, my take on it, or at least my advice, is if you are going to get, if your budget is limited, get the T1C. There's no top of the case to break. The magnets hold themselves in. It's pretty budget oriented, and overall, you're still getting around 18 to 20 hours of playback. And for most people, you're charging them once a week. Totally acceptable. If you have enough money to spend and get the T1 Pro, and like the $38 to $40 price ceiling is the most that you can spend on a pair of headphones, then I would go ahead and get those. So I wouldn't necessarily get the T2C or the QS2 as it's called in some places, just because, at least in my opinion, I don't see enough of a differentiation in the product to justify the price. Next, we're going to talk about the launch of the Xiaomi Mi 9T and what this kind of means overall for the future of the Pocophone F2, because at least in my Telegram community, we had gone over and we had covered the fact that there was a recent leak of the source code for the Mi 9T, and we in fact would be seeing a Mi 9T Pro. Today, Xiaomi announced that they were going to be releasing a Mi 9T, but there is going to be no Mi 9T Pro, and I think it's because they're going to launch a Pocophone F2. Now, let me explain. We need to kind of dive deeper into Xiaomi's international and global strategy and their presence in different markets. So, Xiaomi launches a Mi 9T today internationally. The Mi 9T fits in their lineup a little odd because we have the Mi 9, the Mi 9 SE, the Mi 9T, the Mi Mix 3 5G, and the Mi Mix 3. Now, if you notice, all of the devices that Xiaomi has launched are all in the more premium kind of upper end spectrum. The way the Mi 9T is going to differentiate itself from the Mi 9 and the Mi 9 SE is no notch with a pop-up camera, a headphone jack, the same cameras as the Mi 9 SE, and that's kind of it. Sure, we have a better in-display fingerprint scanner, but to the average user, that's not really important. People were expecting to have kind of a phone that disrupts the market the same way we had the Pocophone F1, which disrupt the market with a flagship SoC, like very, very inexpensive build quality, but a build quality that no one really objects to, especially once you put it inside of a case, and expandable storage. Why didn't Xiaomi launch a Mi 9T Pro? Well, if Xiaomi launches a Mi 9T Pro, which would have been just this device with Xiaomi branding on it, then Xiaomi is in fact competing with the Mi 9. By only launching the K20 or the Mi 9T, the non-Pro variant, Xiaomi just giving users an alternative who don't like a notch, want a bigger battery, don't care about the thicker size. Now, what this does is this leaves a slot open for Xiaomi to bring to market, or a Xiaomi-related company, to bring to market a device that has the same flagship internals as the Mi 9, but with a lot of other compromises. So if we have a device that has a plastic or polycarbonate build, Snapdragon 855, either dual cameras or a single 48 megapixel camera, maybe this 48 megapixel camera and the telephoto camera for say, an LCD screen versus an OLED display, a physical fingerprint scanner, expandable storage, there's enough differentiation and enough corners cut that Xiaomi doesn't have to worry about hurting the sales of their Mi 9. If Xiaomi had launched a Mi 9T Pro, then they have essentially two devices competing with itself, which is bad to do in business. By not launching a Mi 9T Pro, they've allowed themselves enough differentiation in their lineup to give us a cheap or budget-oriented product with flagship internals. Now, because the K20 Pro has already launched in India, it's likely that we might not see Pocophone F2 launch in India because, well, I'm not sure why. Because Xiaomi created the Poco brand specifically for the Indian market, and they created the Redmi brand kind of specifically with the Indian market in mind. Now, what this means is that Xiaomi is keeping the Redmi brand as their ultra budget line with the Redmi 7, Redmi Note 7, and potentially just the Redmi K20 launching globally, and then giving us a Pocophone F2 launching globally, which would in essence take the place of the Redmi K20 Pro for the international audience, so that we would have all non-flagship level SoC Redmi devices on the international market On the Xiaomi side of things, we would have all devices with premium build, in-display fingerprint scanners, OLED displays, and all kind of mid-tier to top-tier devices. And then it would give us a Poco F2 that has a flagship SoC, a LCD panel, a rear-mounted fingerprint scanner, and like good or comparable cameras to what we had on the F1. That way, there's room in the segment, they're not cannibalizing their own sales, and they are able to keep the Xiaomi brand, at least in Western consumers' minds, a brand that offers more premium devices. The Redmi brand is a brand that's more budget-oriented with still compelling design and good cameras. And the Poco brand as still like the ultra budget, not necessarily flagship killer, but the ultra budget spec device with compromises in build and construction and potentially just the Redmi K20 launching globally, and then giving us a Pocophone F2 launching globally, which would in essence take the place of the Redmi K20 Pro for the international audience, so that we would have all non-flagship level SoC Redmi devices on the international market. On the Xiaomi side of things, we would have all devices with premium build, in-display fingerprint scanners, OLED displays, and all kind of mid-tier to top-tier devices. And then it would give us a Poco F2 that has a flagship SoC, a LCD panel, a rear-mounted fingerprint scanner, and like good or comparable cameras to what we had on the F1. That way, there's room in the segment, they're not cannibalizing their own sales, and they are able to keep the Xiaomi brand, at least in Western consumers' minds, a brand that offers more premium devices. The Redmi brand is a brand that's more budget-oriented with still compelling design and good cameras. And the Poco brand as still like the ultra budget, not necessarily flagship killer, but the ultra budget spec device with compromises in build and construction and like top of the line features. I think that this is the only reason that Xiaomi would not launch a Mi 9T Pro. If you guys agree or disagree with that, let me know what you think. I've recorded this video 3 or 4 times because I even get confused talking about this stuff, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun editing this podcast together for you guys. But after a lot of consideration, this is the conclusion that I've come to. And essentially what we can learn from kind of some of the speculation and from what Xiaomi is doing is that Xiaomi is taking the Western market more seriously in regards to building up brand cachet. They want to be thought of as a premium brand in this segment. They want to be a brand that's kind of maybe more aspirational, the same way Huawei has split Honor off from them. But even then, Honor is still not available in all markets. Also, we can conclude that Redmi is going to be the budget phone leader from Xiaomi moving forward. We're probably going to see their devices top out at a maximum price of around $260, $270 equivalent USD. And we're going to see Xiaomi devices starting at like the $280, $300 mark. I am not sure if any of this stuff is even true. This is more speculation. And this is kind of to start the conversation with you guys. Does this make sense to you? Would you buy a Pocophone F2? Would you buy the K20 Pro and import it? How do you feel about that? Till next time, guys, it's been Mitchell coming to you from Hanoi. And if you guys want to see more videos or listen to more podcasts, go ahead and explore some of my back catalog of stuff. Talk to you next time. Peace.